Have a good meeting.
Thank you. I'm Barry Malphurs. I'm the among other things, the chairman of the special committee that we have that the commission created last month for communications, and we're having our first official meeting of 2021 for it. I'm going to call the meeting to order and ask Ms. Kimberly McCroud would give us our statement of announcement, please.
Yes, sir. A meeting notice announcing the date, time, and place of the February 9th, 2021 Special Committee on Commission Communications meeting was distributed on February 5th, 2021 to appropriate media and other groups or individuals who have requested notification. The announcement and agenda were posted on the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs Central Administrative Office and the website. The public has been notified that accommodations such as interpreters, mobility assistance, or other assistance may be provided to individuals with disabilities and special needs if requested in advance.
Thank you. I'm going to do the invocation very quickly. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to be here, and thank you for allowing us to do your work in a special way that we do each month through the Commission on Disabilities, but in a particularly special way today through communications for the Commission on Disabilities. I particularly am most thankful to you for allowing me to be a part of this commission, and for allowing my voice to be heard throughout the entire state for those with disabilities. We pray that you would keep us all safe here today, and that our technology would work and all that sort of thing, so that we can get this business done as quickly as possible. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. The next item on the agenda is, it's really, but let me just say before we adopt the agenda that the primary focus of this committee, the only focus of this committee, I shouldn't say primary focus, I should say the only focus of this committee is focused on preparations and actions across the areas of public image, to include visibility, professional appearance of meetings, and branding of the agency. And then it goes on to give us a list you'll see at the top of your agendas. But the key words there is this is not an exhaustive list, so it's these things and things similar to it. But aside from that, I'll move on to the adoption of the agenda itself. And I'm going to do this meeting like I do the policy committee meeting, in that if there's, instead of doing a motion and second for the same two people all the time, if there's not an objection, we're going to move on. So I'm going to say that if there is an objection, please interrupt and let me know that there is. And then we'll do the first and second if there is an objection. But so the first item on the agenda is adoption of the agenda. So if I don't hear an objection, the agenda is going to be adopted. Okay, I heard no objection. Therefore, the agenda for the Communications Committee is adopted as written. And the first item on the agenda is discussion of the central office signage. And the first item of that really is the tablecloths. And the primary purpose of this meeting really is to get our budget straight. I think all of us on the committee know that these things have been talked about for months, and the real purpose of this meeting is not really to approve these things as much as it is to get the budget straight for how much it's going to cost, so we can go to the commission and get the budget that we need done to be able to actually order these things after the commission meets next week. And so we have found out that we found out that, I guess I should let Susan tell you what the tablecloths cost. So go ahead, Susan, if you want.
Sure. So in some of the notes in preparation for the meeting, we reviewed that some tablecloths may be purchased. So I'll present some information that Christy Lingard was able to collect for us. It's possible to get plain tablecloths that fit the current commission meeting room tables. And the solid tablecloths are $65 each. When you buy 3 to 6, the price is a little bit better when you buy multiples. But that would also, there'd be a charge for tax and shipping. And these fit 8-foot tables. Well, the tablecloths are 8 feet. Our tables are actually 6 feet. So we measured those and feel like that would be appropriate. There is also additional pricing available for later if the commission would like to have printed tablecloths. You can either get the tablecloth printed, or you can get something that's called a runner, which basically fits across part of the top of the table and the front, so you would see whatever your logo would look like. So the price for probably you'd want a full color imprint. Actual tablecloth per piece is $205 plus tax and shipping, versus if you wanted a printed runner. That's full color, which would be $155. So a little bit difference in price there. So it's really up to you all to decide if any of those are of interest to you. Also, just for information, I'm presuming that you're interested in the commission room keeping the old-fashioned commission meeting configuration with the 2 main tables at the front and then 2 tables on each side that form kind of like a C. So that's configured of 6 tables typically, and in the past had fit with comfort 7 commissioners, but that would just need to be considered as you all think about how many tablecloths you'd like to get if you'd like to move forward with that. Do y'all have any questions?
I don't really think I have any questions except to have a comment, which is that I think that we need to do, I would lean toward personally, but obviously there's 3 members of the committee, so, and I'm not stuck on either way, but I would lean toward just doing the full imprint of the tablecloths, or of either 1 or 2 of the tablecloths, and just spending the $205 to make it full color in case we need it, because we don't know whether we need 1 color, 2 colors or 1 color right now, but it'd probably be 2 colors, so it'd probably be less than 205, but probably more like 175. But we don't know right now for sure, so we just would need to budget for the 205, and then if what our report will say is that we'll spend this much money or less, and so X amount of money or less on the total project. So and I don't know if, and I don't think, and Robin and Stephanie need to help me out if you will, but I don't know if we want 1 tablecloth or 2, and so wouldn't we think we'd want to just budget for 2, and then if we spent less money, everybody would be happier? Talking about imprinted tablecloths. Now I know we need all 8 regular black ones right now, but what do y'all want to do about that? Somebody, Stephanie or Robin, you want to chime in?
I think, this is Robin, I think that we should do you're saying two logoed ones, right?
I think that'd be the maximum we do is 2, and I'm thinking we need to budget for 2, and then if we only buy 1, we're fine. But right. if we only budget for 1 and we want 2, then we got to come back to the commission next time for another one. You understand what I'm saying? Because your money would run out, so you'd have to come back for more money. So I'm trying to prevent coming back for more money. But I would lean toward having 2 anyway. But that would be ultimately what we would have to decide, whether we wanted 1 or 2 of those imprinted tablecloths. I know we want all 8 of the other ones, or didn't you just say 8 tables we need total to make sure?
Commissioner Balfour, this is Susan, if you want me to respond to that. So
I'm going to need more than that. This is Commissioner Rawlinson, because there's 7 congressional districts, so each congressional district will have a table plus the front table, and there's usually 3 tables at the front.
So just kind of as a staff recommendation, if you were to order solid tablecloths, Christy and I conferred about that with replacement, washing, loss, damage. We're recommending that you get 10 solid. But again, the configuration that's been used for years with the commission, and we're in that room now, there are typically 2 of the 6-foot tables across the main, like
In front of the seat.
the chair. Yeah, sorry, you can't, the front of the U, and then there are 2 6-foot tables on each side, so that's a total of 6. So if you ordered a few more tablecloths, then again, you wouldn't have to go back every time you needed a replacement. So again, just staff recommendation, 10 solid, but if you want to go less than that, certainly it's up to you.
Let's just budget for 10 solid ones and the 2, either 1 or 2 imprinted ones, for our main report to go to the commission. Because we need 1 or 2 extra in case one gets torn or something like that. I'm sure 10 would be enough, wouldn't it? Even in the COVID days, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
or would
if
we need
you have
11?
7 full commission, and then if you wanted the director, that would be 8. So you could see each person at a table, that'd be 8 tables.
Well, I'll make a motion to purchase 10 plain color and 2 embroidered, logoed tablecloths.
Okay.
Commissioner Rawlinson, I'll second that motion.
Okay, we just made a motion second. So basically, Susan, then we need to put down that we just approved 8 tables at about
10.
10, sorry, at about, probably about, with tax and all, probably about $75 a piece, right?
It's $686.40 for 10 black, that's including the tax and shipping.
Okay, well, let's just do $690 for that and do $205 for 2 of those other tables in case we need them, and then we may spend less. So let's just say it's $680, $1080, 12. It's gonna be $1290, be $1,300, $1,290 to $1,300 or less for tablecloths. Is what our report would say. It may well be less, but that's the maximum it would be is $1,300. Isn't that right for me? We're not doing that right?
Sure,
680 plus 205 twice.
Yeah, it'll be 205 plus tax and shipping, so there'll be a little bit more. So you provided enough buffer there to cover that. If you figure about 700 and 500 to be about 1,200, you said 13. You could say 13 just to be sure.
Right. So we'll say that we'll make if you don't mind, Robin, can you amend your motion to say 1,300 and this amount of money will be 1,300 or less?
Sure. So you want to make a new motion and say that we won't spend more than 1,300, or you want me to say that?
Well, what we're saying is we want 10.
Right. I said that 10.
And well, that's right. You're just amending your motion to say that the total for all these tablecloths will only be will be
More than.
no more than what I just say, $1,300.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to amend my motion about purchasing the 10 tablecloths, plain tablecloths, 2 logoed tablecloths, to say that we will not spend more than $1,300 on this purchase.
You want a second, Stephanie?
Commissioner Rawlinson seconds that motion.
Okay. Motion made and seconded with no further discussion. Motion is adopted. The next item on the agenda relates to the Kimberly McLeod is going to talk to us about the website and things that relate to that.
Okay, I was able to talk to Michael Mickey about the website, and what I explained from our previous meetings, to him about what you all kind of wanted and using the DOT page as a template or an example. He says that he believes that can all be done in-house by our IT team, so that's good news, and so that won't have to be contracted out to anyone. He did say that it may not be done very quickly, so it may take some time to get that completely accomplished. So I guess what our next steps will be with that are, if you all already have professional headshots, if you could provide those to me, or during the next commission meeting, I can take a headshot, and then also a bio. And since the bios hopefully will be able to be popped out, so if you hover over the commissioner's picture, then the bio will pop out into like a little box. That's the goal. And so probably with the bio, what you're going to be writing is, think about when you've been invited to be a guest speaker at a conference or something, and someone gets up there to introduce you. You know, you give them something that maybe takes a minute to a minute and a half to say out loud. So just, you know, a short bio, you know, hit the high points. That way it's not taking over the whole page and it looks proportional. So that's really our next steps, is just getting your information to IT and put in that help desk ticket so they can get started on that project.
You want to say about how many, just about how many words you're thinking of? Because I mean, I have a bio that I turned in a long time ago. It's about a half a page, but I don't know if that's too much or not.
Yeah, that would probably be a little bit long. If you could shorten that, that would, because if you think about it, if you've ever been to a page and you hover over something like a picture and it pops up a description, you know, that description is kind of short and concise. So if you're thinking about it, you know, something maybe around 200 words or so, give or take.
Okay, all right, I got it. Let's do it that way. Let's say 200 words. I mean, let's say less than 200 words or something like that.
Okay.
And then, and can you make a note to ask them to have it to where it says bio somewhere in that area so that you can click on it and it'll give you the bio instead of having to go over the picture, unless we say hover picture for bio and something like that. Just something in words so they wouldn't have to know they had to do that. They could just, it would be some word somewhere that would say that.
Yeah, that would probably be easier than actually hovering over the picture anyway.
Yeah, if they could just click onto it, I was thinking it would be fine if they wanted to see it. I'm not sure how many people want to see it, but I just would love to have it there in case they did. May only be 1 or 2 people want to see it. I don't know. We just never had it, so we'd like to have it. That I know of, they've never had them.
Commissioner Malthus.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Malthus, I've been talking to some folks and across the state, and one of the things that they are having issues with is figuring out who represents what areas, who is their commissioner for their agencies. And I think it might be helpful to have for example, have a map that shows our district, where our district lines are, and then have over to the side who the actual commissioners are for that district as well.
I actually think that the website we're patterning after actually has that on it too. Does it not?
Does, but that's something that I found that they know the commissioners, they know who we are, but they don't know. They're like, I don't know which one of y'all represents me, and I think that's something we really need to address somehow.
Commissioner Malthus, you're correct. The DOT page does have a map of the congressional districts, and also next to the pictures, it has the counties that the commissioner represents. And if multiple commissioners, because of course the lines aren't completely solid and sometimes they cut through counties, it'll say a portion of Calhoun County or Sumter County, like that. But they also have a map of the congressional districts, so that way people can reference that as well.
I think that's a great idea, and I think we need to make sure that's included in this website. Thank you so much for identifying that for us.
Wonderful.
This is Commissioner Miller. I have one recommendation. I wouldn't go less than 200 words. I would just say 200 words or less. I just completed such a piece, and 200 words is not as much as you think it is. And it took me a good while to get it down to my bio down to about 200 words. So I would recommend 200 words or less.
Okay, I think that's what we decided. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we did.
But anyway, we will do 200 words or less.
Okay.
I got to count mine and see how many it is, so I got to figure out what I got to change, but it won't take me long. Okay, next. Okay, so that means that we are. When you say it's going to take a while, do you mean like more than several months, or do you mean like several months, or longer than that? You think, Kimberly?
Well, I think once we get him all of the information that needs to go on the page, they can probably give us a more accurate time frame. Mr. McKee just said that not to expect this to be done next week or the week after. I think he just wants to have a queue. Yeah, it'll be in the queue, and so they'll get to it as quickly as possible. But he said that this wouldn't be something that would be able to be changed and done quickly. It'll be time consuming for staff to make these changes.
Okay, well, we'll assume they can be done within 90 days, I would guess. Or else they can they can let us know something about how much longer it's going to take after that, I guess.
I think we have to look at what the project list is. It's got to get on the project list. There's other projects going on.
Okay, well then we'll say that either I or somebody will send out an email that asks for the, we could just get somebody to send out an email for us that asks every commissioner for their bio, maybe by the end of the month or so that we can have it to him before the end of the month. But that's all we need is that for this website. That's all we're going to need is our bios, right?
Your bio and your headshot. If you already have a headshot that you'd like to use, that's great. If not, then after the next commission meeting, I can take your photo.
And we probably need to take a group shot in case we use it for something else, because we haven't had a group shot in over a year. So we'll take that whenever we're there at the next.
It would be my suggestion that we avoid group shots right now during the pandemic.
I guess so. Anyway. Okay. Well, I guess we'll wait a few months on that then. But anyway, so then I guess that's what we'll say then is we'll send an email to everybody asking for their bio by the end of the month, and then I'll follow up and make sure that we've got what we needed for that, and then they can get started on the internet as soon as possible. After that time. So I guess technically, since we're doing this technically today anyway, we can make a motion to approve to make us as much like the DOT website as we can. Is that what we would say? Somebody want to make a motion to that?
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjust the DDSN website to mimic the format used on the DOT, South DOT website, and that we ask for a timeline as to when we can expect that to be completed based on what the project list looks like currently.
This is Commissioner Blackwood. I second that.
Motion made and seconded. Is with no further discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the state seal signs that we're asking to replace in the main conference room and on the outside. Susan, which size sign do we use now? Is it the 19-inch or the other one?
So currently, and we measured this today, it's 21 inches. However, in the attachment, you see some models that were researched, and those are either 19 or 15 inches. There was another model that I believe Christy Langard emailed to the committee, perhaps this morning, was that this morning, that is available in 19-inch and 21-inch, and we're still seeking the price on that one, but that one is a printed state seal that can be done in metal and wood, but it's flat, whereas the other pictured ones you see are a injection molded foam plaque that has more of the dimension to it, similar to the one that's already in the commission room.
I don't know, did the rest of the committee see what she sent us this morning? Because I wasn't as impressed with that. I didn't think as the one we've gotten the prices on already. Did y'all see that, Robin and Miss Blackwood and Miss Rollinson?
I did. I can't remember which ones though which one came first.
What came first is the one that that we have the prices on now. The gold one and the silver one, and the one that kind of looks like it bulges out a little bit, like Susan was just talking about.
Yeah.
The other one is the one that she just sent this morning, which is a little bit bigger, but it stays kind of flat, right, Susan?
Right. It's just a printed state seal, so it'll be completely flat with no raised edging or detail of any type.
And it's just a graphic, so you can't really tell how it's going to look. Is there any way?
It's a piece of metal that's adhered to wood, and both of those are black.
Did we determine that the one we have cannot be repaired or cleaned up, or what's the status on that?
So, Commissioner
Malthus, it could not be cleaned.
Right. Let me just explain, because Christy and Kimberly have examined this, and also we've had someone else kind of give us a model, some ideas about it. So state seals can be purchased in different metallic finishes. This one is a heavy resin, is what I would call it. It's a molded composite of some type, and it is designed to be kind of like a bronze look to it. So it's not aged, it's not dirty, it's not it's just supposed to look like that. So it's not bright and shiny, it's not gold, it's just bronze. We have been unable to find, there are no markings on it, so we can't find where and when this was purchased to find a likewise product in gold or silver. So that is our one caution with the gold and silver ones that were priced for you all, is that they're a type of foam which might not be as durable. However, it is going to be on the wall, so it's not like it's going to be handled. But the one on the wall is solid. Hefty, it's solid. So it would be a different quality, but if you're looking for a different look, these would look different, the prices that you're given.
The gold ones on here, I don't know what they're made of, like we say. I mean, I'm concerned about, but like you say, it's only a picture, so I don't think it would be a problem as to what it was actually made of, as long as it looked as good as it does in this picture. But if it looks good as it does in this picture, I was kind of impressed with the fact that it was gold, because that's kind of like what we're trying to do with the gold and black colors for the commission. So, I mean, it's up to the rest of the commission, but I would think that this gold one would be the way what we'd want to go with, because the other one just doesn't, like I say, it just doesn't pop out like this one does to me. I mean, we could go with gold or silver, but part of the point, I think, is gold and black, right?
Yeah.
Right, Robin?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the one that you're indicating that you like the best, Commissioner Malthus, is attachment A, which is the gold, and in gold, the 19-inch for $219.95 is, I believe, one that you're saying you like the
That's
most.
what I would recommend. That's what I would vote for if I was going to vote. But I mean, we don't really have to vote like that. I mean, because we only have 3 members. So that's what I would think. But I mean, I'm open for suggestions, of course, as always.
Okay,
I'm just going to be thankful for getting a new one.
Yeah.
And of course, we'd be getting 2 because we get one for outside and one for, one for outside and one for the conference room. And then the other one could be moved to somewhere else.
When you say outside, where are you thinking, Barry, to put one on the outside?
I think it'd be the smaller one, but I think it's right outside I think it's right outside the door, Susan, in it, the other one.
There's currently a metal plate that is a rectangular shape that is outside. I call it the back entrance, but the entrance at the back of the building, opposing the front of the building. And it has a small seal on it to the left, as I recall, and it is made of metal. Now, again, these like the gold plaque is a contender right now. It weighs less than a pound and it's made of foam. So I'm not sure.
So it might not work for outside.
Even in a secure area, I'm not sure it would be an exterior seal. That would be another kind of research that we would need to do if you all want to replace the one that's out there. It might be beneficial to see if y'all want to look at the picture that's outside of the one that's outside, we could send it to the committee. We could also see if it's just a matter of cleaning it. It does have a little kind of patina that some metals get on it, but it's clean. But there might be some sort of metal treatment that could be done to it. But it was definitely an exterior sign purchased to be at that entrance.
Well, we are going to have to have another meeting about the logo and stuff at another time in a couple of months. So I guess we could reevaluate that at that time if we could make I don't know if we need to make a motion, but if somebody could clean that one and see if it would look better, and then we can make sure we all look at it whenever we're at the meeting next week and see what we think of it, and whether we want to replace it or leave it alone. I mean, or at least get a price on replacing it or leaving it alone. But if we're going to get a price on replacing it, we need to say, that we would spend, I don't know, the same $219 or less on it as the other one, so that we can get because again, the whole point of this meeting today is numbers, so we can get numbers as to what we want to spend, so we can approve the numbers that we can spend, and then we can get it ordered whenever we want to. We don't have to order it. We can order it 3 months from now, but the point is we got the money to do it if we want to.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know that we should, this is just me. I think we should probably hold off on the exterior one, because those kind of signs have a tendency, the exterior signs, from my experience in doing them on buildings, they tend to cost a little more than interior signs. So I don't think we will. I think we're going to find a huge price difference is what I'm saying. So I'm not sure that we should budget 2 of these interior signs, because I think the price is going to be significantly different.
Okay, well, the other option, we can just buy the one, and then we can say that we want to move the other one to another location, maybe to the front of the building or something. I mean, maybe where the actual public entrance is, and use this one in the conference room, and then we can say that we'll reevaluate the exterior entrance if we decide to down the street.
I think that's fine.
Maybe we can get it cleaned in the next week or so and see if it looks better.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. I'm just making a note. Okay, so then we just need a motion to spend a maximum of, I'd say, what, $230 on the conference room golden sign?
Mr. Chairman, I so move that we spend that money to purchase that gold sign to go in the conference room.
Second.
Okay, did you get that, Susan, like $230 or less?
Sure. I think with tax, $219.95 with 7% tax is $235.35. Do you want to amend for that amount?
Let's say 250 to cover shipping and handling.
Well, one of them is yeah. Let's say 250 to cover everything. It'll be that much or less is what this report's going to say. At the end, it's going to say this is the amount of money we're spending on all these things, and it'll be or less. So if we say 250, it'll probably be less than that. So let's just say 250 on that particular thing or less. It's more than likely going to be less, and our budget's going to be high. But I'd rather it be high and then we spend less than everybody's. And then that always makes me feel better. But anyway, we had a motion and a second. Hearing no further discussion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is mercy. I think it's the sign to clearly identify the conference room. It's only like $10 and $10 or $11, and I guess they just. I guess what size is this sign for like this $10, Susan, for the conference room? I mean, for our.
Sure. The quote that I'm seeing right now says it starts out as an 8.5 by 11-inch double-sided polystyrene. Again, this is not my expertise. That's digitally printed and cut to shape. So it's suitable for hanging. So the representative who gave us that quote came and looked at the existing sign to make sure that what she was quoting would fit with the existing signage. So right now, each conference room has I would call it a placard that has the conference room name on it and number on it. And then there's a slide that goes back and forth in use or not in use. And so it would be compatible with that.
Yeah, and it would be mounted on the door and both doors and then be removable.
Oh, wonderful.
So it would actually go on the door.
She's
okay.
Yeah, she quoted it,
Okay.
It would probably make sense and easy to see if you put it on the door and just have it where it can be removable.
Okay. And that's $11.13 as a taxed price.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion for that?
I'll make a motion, but I can't remember exactly what it was that I was supposed to say about it.
Well, we're just ordering the sign for the conference room is only like $13.
Okay.
I will second that motion made by Ms. Robbins. What is your name, Rob? Those days. I will second Robin's motion.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, now we forget Robin's name. We might have to stop this meeting and just keep going.
Lord, it's been a long day.
Lord have mercy. Well, I'm trying not to keep you too much longer. Anyway, a motion has been made and seconded for the conference room sign. Hearing no further discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. So this will be ordered then, Susan, as soon as the commission meeting as soon as all this is approved by the commission. That one can be ordered right away as soon as that's done. So can all of it. I mean, this golden sign too. But anyway, and that's the end of our report. It should say that the list of these things will be ordered as soon as they're approved. All of it won't be because the next thing won't be because this is the big thing. We're doing the next thing item on the agenda is for Miss Kimberly to tell us about the estimated time for the logo redesign, and if she has the redesign, I mean the logo that the we were looking at, you know, for the Council on Aging, I think, to sample.
Yeah, I looked at the South Carolina Department on Aging, and they just use that basic round seal. Unfortunately, I think our name is too long to fit on that. It would probably end up looking more like the South Carolina Department of Probation, Pardon, and Parole Services logo. It's kind of off center, and it just looks like a bunch of jumbled letters together because it had to be squeezed to fit. And I've noticed that looking at other state agencies that unless they're a constitutional office or involved in law enforcement, other state agencies are really moving away from that circular seal because when you look at the Department on Aging, you just see South Carolina. You don't actually see the agency itself. But when I say DHEC, what pops in your head? That little blue state with the little leaf popping out of it. And so when you see that sign, or even First Steps, you see the little building blocks. So when you see those signs, you automatically, it's branded. So agencies are really moving away from those traditional, that traditional signage and moving more towards, branding. So I looked up LLR because they did a whole rebranding in 2019 with a website design and their logo redesign. Their logo redesign was $10,000.
That's ridiculous. That's nowhere.
Those things can be expensive. I mean, people
just if
branding,
this is to do it right, because I spoke with my counterpart at LLR, and she said, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it right, and you've got to contract it out. Because when our logo was redesigned in the mid-90s, we actually had graphic designers in-house, but we don't have that anymore. So that we don't have those positions and the ability to do that and produce that in-house. So we would have to contract out with an outside company. And so it's going to be quite expensive. A good graphic designer is going to cost you anywhere between $125 and $150 an hour.
Yeah.
I could see $125 an hour, but I couldn't see it taking more than 4 or 5 hours to do if we had a sample logo we wanted to use. But
can we get
this may be a bigger thing than we want to bite off
can we get it priced out?
Do what?
Can we get some bids on it? See what it's going to be?
Sure.
I mean,
we can get bids for the next meeting we're going to have. We're going to have another meeting we'll probably have another meeting in a couple of months, or we could have another meeting in a couple of months.
I would have to check with procurement, but I think in order to get bids, we would have to go through like the actual procurement process. And I think once people bid on it, then we have to pay them and do it. So I don't.
We can make phone calls and test the waters, I think.
If you have some
we can actually
specifications, you could do research, but you're right. We can't, without a intent to spend, I think procurement would prevent us from being able to actually take officially what we would call bids. You're right.
So
can y'all articulate why we want to switch and change logos? That probably would help a little bit trying to figure out where you want to go.
I think it came up because the logo doesn't look that great. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is on it, but if you look at it, it has kind of a crooked, wimpy looking tree around it. It just doesn't seem to be a very strong, favorable logo. And for my opinion, maybe others love it, but that's why we brought it up, because we were really kind of curious about its design and why it looks that way and how long it's looked that way. And what did it look like before it was changed? Anybody know? Yeah.
I think that it was done back in the 90s.
Yeah, it was done back in the mid 90s. the
So-
redesign, and I'm not sure what.
We were concerned
What
because
we were,
we thought the bottom of the tree kind of looked like a cane, and I think that wasn't that what we said, Robin? Is we were concerned that I don't know, it just didn't look right.
well, one of the reasons that I wanted to see it changed was that we wanted to go with a kind of a gold and black type color scheme as opposed to the blue one anyway, and use like a state seal type logo on it. That was my biggest, other than the fact that I don't like the other one. I don't like it either, but I mean, we could talk about who does and who don't like it all day, but I thought part of the point was to go to this gold and black color scheme that had a state seal in it. But if we're not going that route, then I don't know, maybe we need to, reevaluate the whole situation. Because like I say, if we're not starting from that kind of a standpoint, then we're starting from nothing, and we may be here a year from now thinking about this. I mean, but I thought we were going to go with a state seal type situation. Some kind of a, not necessarily the states. I mean, well, the state seal with something around it like another state agency does, so we'd look more like another state agency as opposed to our own. I personally think that, and I hope somebody from DHEC can hear this. To me, that's one of the worst logos I've ever seen any organization have in my life. Of course, I'm not fond of DHEC anyway, for a lot of reasons, because they're far too powerful and a lot of things. But their logo to me looks absolutely silly. So, I mean, if we're going to go with something like that, we just soon stick with what we got.
Well, I think,
in my opinion, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm just here to give my opinion, but I mean, that logo is absurd if you ask me.
I guess, Kimberly, your recommendation was not to go the route of the other state agencies with the state seal because of the length. And I see the problems with that too. So I think we could just stick with what we have, and
if at some point we see something we like better, we can reevaluate it at that point. This committee's not going away. It's just going to be dormant, so it's not going away. So so we can reevaluate it if we see something we like, or one of y'all see something you want to bring up at some point in the future.
I think the other items that we've already talked about are a little more pressing to what we're wanting to accomplish with this committee. So
I agree.
I'm fine with leaving the logo the way it looks until someone wants to tackle that topic. So.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion that we just table the logo opportunity? I mean, the logo option for now, and we'll take it up at some point in the future.
So moved.
Okay. We probably need a second.
I'll second it, Stephanie.
Okay, motion made and seconded with no further discussion. The logo is, for now, is tabled, and we will take it up may or may not take it up at another time in the future. Next item on the agenda is the onboarding process for the commissioners. I have the table of contents of what we were given when we first came on. I don't personally have any. I think it was actually there was nothing major wrong with the booklet that we're given so far in that regard. But I mean, if there's something somebody wants to add, I'd be thrilled. The only thing I would like to see added is a Robert's Rules of Order summary, like a 2-page summary of the Robert's Rules of Order, and a section for that. Well, actually, it wouldn't be in a section. It'd be in the section of where the Freedom of Information Act is and all that, because we go by Robert's Rules of Order, and anybody new on the board, which I would think most people that were new on our board would already be familiar with Robert's Rules of Order, but you never can tell. It depends on what committee they've been on and whether they've used it or not. For me, it's very common because I've been on board so long and so much, but I know for a lot of people it's not. So a 2 or 3 page summary might be helpful. There is a summary book that comes out every few years on Robert's Rules of Order that I have that I read every time it comes out, and there's also a 500-page book on Robert's Rules of Order that nobody wants to read. I haven't even read the whole thing myself. I've only read parts of it. It's a very exhaustive book, but the summary book is very interesting. I would think that we'd have a 2 or 3 page, or probably a 2-page thing that would talk about Robert's Rules of Order, and then we would say, if you want more information, buy this book, and give them the name and which I can do, give the name of the book and the author of the book. But that's the only thing I know of to add to this particular binder. But I want to hear what other people on the committee have to say.
So, Barry, I recall the last time we talked about this, beyond the training manual, I believe that you're maybe referencing, which has all the different tabs of content information that we receive when commissioners are onboarded. We were talking about something that covers more communication tools when it comes to the commissioners, and we developed a new list of what we didn't get when we started and how we thought that would be a good thing to do. Is that what we're trying to address?
Well, this was the first thing of that. This was the contents of that notebook, and then I was going to go on to the other stuff you're talking about, which is that we need the letter to be, we wanted to look at the letter, and or actually I was going to probably make a motion for you to look at the letter and get with staff on making the letter, the initial email different that we get, and also to talk about oh Lord, where's my mind? The statement of economic interest, and to give them somebody to contact for the statement of economic interest if they had questions about it. And by the way, I haven't done mine yet. I have to do mine before the end of this month.
Yeah,
and everybody else does too, by the way, if you haven't done yours.
Yeah.
But I'm planning on doing that next week. But anyway, that was one of the things. I'm looking at this sheet now to see what else was on that.
Can I interject here? This is Mary Poole.
Go ahead.
I just want to tell you that this table of contents, the topics you might get, but you're not going to get the tab contents. It's an interactive process of onboarding. So it's more of an orientation of onboarding, so that a lot of the topics, thank you to Robin, Commissioner, sorry, I called you Robin. I meant to call you Commissioner.
That's okay. Look, she says my name right.
I know, Blackwood. I'm just, I just wanted to let you know that the content of each bullet point would be given to you upon sitting down and talking with the tab owner. So these things in of themselves really don't make a whole lot of sense unless you can sit down with somebody and have that back and forth and you can question. So the whole idea behind the onboarding was more of not just a table of contents, but a process of immersing in bit by bit, because we know that if you take too much of a bite here, we know that it's a lot of information to get, to hold on to. So the whole idea was that each one of these folks that you contact, you make an appointment on your schedule to come either virtually or in person, go over the items in the tab so that you could get a better picture of it. And then at that time, ask for more information on whatever you needed more information on. So I just wanted to make sure you understood it's not just a book or a table of contents, it's a process. that I would really hope that folks would take advantage of and utilize, because I think it would go a long way to really educating folks. Even if you want to do some of it again, and then while you're going through and as you're on the board for a little while, you come back and say, hey, I think this would be a good thing to add to that tab. Like I said, Commissioner Blackwood, you've added quite a few of these items when you were going through your process.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Right. I mean, the biggest reason we brought it up was not for I think not for this table of contents, but for, you know, some things that would have made life a little bit easier with those two things that I just talked about, and about letting people know that they can get the business cards and what email that we would recommend they would receive.
Yeah.
But the key thing to that is when we talk about this is really another subject. When we're talking about assigning the email, I just want to say that we would recommend they take whatever email we ask them to take, but that we don't make anything mandatory for a commissioner. We just recommend that they use that email. They could use whatever they wanted, but we would recommend they use the one that was DDSN related, so that well, really, for a lot of reasons, they need to use a separate email. There's no question about it. But they could call it whatever they wanted. But we'd recommend that they use the email account from Skype or whatever. That's what this thing should say, is that we would recommend that they do. But that would be that's still in the, I think, well, one of the, if not the initial email, certainly one of them. And so is this stuff about the rest of the stuff on the sheet, which is about the name tag and nameplate, and that they'll get these things. And that they can get a license plate if they want it, that sort of thing. But it all should be in the first one or two emails that they get. And we were just going to go over that, and we were going to assign somebody to go over that and fix it before the next person comes on board, which we don't know if that'll be a month or 6 months or whatever. But hopefully before the next person comes on board, we at least have those emails fixed.
So I have a question.
Not fixed. I mean, they weren't bad before, but they just could be made better. And that's the whole point of this whole committee. It's not everything is bad. It's just it can be made better. And I'm almost obsessed with that. I mean, it's not that anything could be. Most things I deal with are not bad. It's just they could be made better, and that's what I'm always looking for.
Barry.
Go ahead.
So I have some questions around the email that we were given by DDSN. So is that encouraged that we use that email address? I know it was associated with a Skype account, and which is the only reason I knew I had an email address. What's the logistical?
See, I have the same question, Robin.
I
know there's an account out there, but I don't know how to check it to see if
right
or anything. I mean,
yeah. So we've got no direction at all on this DDSN commissioner email account that we all have. I didn't know we had until I don't know if I even need to check it. I think I found out later that I was getting the emails to that account, and I never even knew how to check it. So I think it would be a good time to just stop and talk about the email. Do we need an email address assigned by DDSN? If we do, we should be assigned this email before we start or right when we start as a commissioner, so that we can immediately use it for all things DDSN. And then we need to know how to check it, what's the best way. I mean, none of that was provided. So can anyone address that, just little nuance regarding the DDSN email address? Do we all have one? Should we all be using it? Does it?
I don't know 100% where it came from. I do know that you're supposed to have, I know that when we went virtual, Robin, and we had to have you had to have a Skype account. So the Skype business account that we have, so that we can do these virtual meetings this way, that address had been given to you. But it had always been encouraged. I know that when I first came on board, for you to have an email address that is separate from your private email address, your personal email address. So that, because we knew that you would be getting inquiries from the public. So you don't want to mix that with your personal email address. So I know, is Mark willing to talk? Mark can give you the specifics as far as have to have your assigned address because of the Skype business account, I believe. But it had always been encouraged for commissioners not to use their personal email accounts because of the FOIA issue and the
Separation.
number of emails that you would be receiving. So this is Mark Cameron. He's going to talk a little bit about the Skype email account.
Mark?
Hello. Yes. Here, I'll hang up my phone and use my Skype.
Okay. Because he's on Skype. He can talk on Skype.
Yeah.
You guys to use Skype, and you'll eventually be using Teams. We had to create you a DDSN network account, and when we create that, an email address, just part of it. It doesn't have to be there, but like the reasons that Mary spoke about, I believe, are the reasons for the email. But that is the reason to have the account, is specifically for Skype and then Teams.
But would it not make sense for us to use that email address all the time for all things DDSN? I mean,
That's what Mary would.
If it's set up, wouldn't it be something that we would want to use instead of these personal email addresses that we have through Gmail that we all make up or we create when we get onboarded?
That was what we were using. That when you were onboarded, that was the way we were doing things. We didn't really create these Skype accounts until we had to do this
COVID stuff, right?
for
Right, I
COVID.
understand that, but
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, I think that you're making a perfectly valid point, but it was done one way for a while, and then it had to change because of COVID. So if, Mark, is there any reason why they cannot use the DDSN account as their official commission account?
I don't see anything wrong with them using that. But I can say, I remember in the past, some previous commissioners did ask for a DDSN email address too.
So what we can do is we can phase out your old accounts, or you can stop using them or close them, and we can just use your DDSN account, and that's the account we can put on the webpage. If that is something y'all want to do, that's fine.
I like that idea. I also, I think that would keep it a little bit more professional. It would also keep it so that everything we have can be going back to at some point. But before we do phase everything out, we need to make sure everybody knows what the password is and how to get into it. So
Well, the only thing I would say to that is that I would do that if it can go to my Outlook and
Yeah.
be set up in my Outlook like my Outlook is now. Because right now my Outlook is set up just like I want it with my.
it should be able to. Mark, you can speak to that. You just do add an account, right? And then you just type in the email address and the password, and then it can load into your Outlook, and you can sort it by email, right?
I will say, yes, it should be able to be done, but as always, it's never as easy as said. Something comes up, but yes, it can be done. It should be able to be done without a problem.
Mark, the other issue is the passwords are on their accounts, like our accounts. Our accounts have to be changed every, 90 days?
I believe so.
So you guys realize that your password has got to be changed and updated. You'll get a notice saying it needs to be done for the network. So that's just something added. You won't be doing that if it's a Gmail account, but you will for the DDSN account because it's part of our network and it's a requirement.
Mark, will that be for our email addresses too? Because I don't
Yes.
think we don't change them right now for Skype. So
Well, the Skype account and those email accounts, the password is the same. It's the same account you're using. And it may be the way that some of you guys were set up, that it may work a little different. But
Okay, I just was curious if we would have the
Yeah,
same.
I'm just thinking that if they're part of the network, Mark, they should be changing passwords just like we are, because that's our network security.
Protection.
Well, I know
correct.
I changed mine on Skype. That's why I had trouble getting on a couple of meetings, is because while Mark was out with COVID, I had a situation where I couldn't get into meetings. It's because the password had changed because I hadn't been on it in 30 days or something or whatever, and we didn't know the password to get back in it.
Right. Another question I have, Mark, aren't we switching over to Teams fairly soon?
Yes, we should be switching over to Teams few months because Skype does run out.
Yeah.
End of life is either end of June or end of July. So
Okay, but
we
that's
are in the
what-
process of getting some equipment that will work with Teams.
Okay.
I will be getting with each one of you to make sure that you get our the Microsoft Teams app, and you'll use the same account, and I will work with you on that. And also,
that will
and what
not
we're using
affect
now is
email
Skype
address.
Broadcast. That will have to go away, and we'll be using something called Teams Live Event.
Right. But Mark, that does not, that means, but their not passwords, their email addresses can stay the same, right?
Yes,
So if we make all these changes on the website and everything, we're good to go.
yes. The
Okay.
Skype to Teams will have no bearing on their account or email address.
Great,
Well, why not?
thank you.
What if we're moving over to would it be a different at anything? Would anything at different be or anything? Because right now I use obviously I use one that I created like we were talking about, but would we want to wait the few months and then let everybody go to a new email at that time whenever we got to the new whenever we got to Teams?
No, sir. Your email address will stay the same. It will work with Teams. It's a migration process, so it will work. That you won't be getting a new email address or account.
So we're changing our platform, but we're not going to change that kind of information. So you're good to go. So if you want us to make sure that on our website we have your DDSN email address and not the Gmail or whatever, we can do that. So if that's the way you want to go, that's an easy fix.
But we won't
I'm
do
not
that.
opposed to it, except that we want to do it at a certain time,
Right.
So that we want to phase it in over time, and that I'm usually in a hurry to do everything, but in this case, I would not be in a hurry. So, I would say we'd want to do it over the next several months to make sure that everybody was up to date and to make sure that my Outlook would work, because I live by Outlook, and because I have like 7 different email addresses and for different company related things, and or 6, and I'd have to make sure that works for mine and all that sort of thing, and that all I have to do is open up like I normally do now, and it all comes in like it does now, because it's all happy right now, so I don't want to make it sad. So I just want to make sure that we have time to get all that done. But we could make a date as to when we'd like to try to do that. Maybe the end of the fiscal year or something like that.
That's fine. And you can start sending any of the other people that use, if you're using a Gmail address, you can just say, just send out, this is my DDSN email address, what we prefer that you use. It's kind of like a change of address card. You start doing that a few months before you actually change the address.
Yeah.
You start migrating your folks over to that.
Well, can somebody send me what my new email would even be? Because I don't even know what it is through Skype.
You gotta
I just
have
know
it.
what it is.
in Skype.
I just know what it is.
Okay, we'll get you that information.
Okay. Could we say that we were gonna? I mean, there again, I think we need to say we recommend that a commissioner does this. I don't think we need to command a commissioner to do anything. So I think we need to recommend that they use a separate email address, and we recommend they use this email address.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think just alerting them on just going back to what we first started talking about, like the onboarding process. So new commissioner, you have a DDSN email address. This is the address. This is the password. You can use this one, or if you want to use something else, you can use what you want. Let me know what it is you want, because we'll put it on your business card. We'll add it to the website. so forth and so on.
But we strongly recommend it as a separate email and not your personal email for 100 reasons we just talked about.
Yep.
That is very important, I think, for everybody to know.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but you're going to have a DDSN email address because we still need to use the platform, whether it's Teams or Skype. You're still going to have one. What you choose to use publicly will be up to you.
Ma'am. That is correct.
Thank you.
Well then we can say in our email that we recommend that you use the Teams email, and this is one we've assigned to you. But if you have a reason that you want to use something different, let us know.
It'd make their life easier just to have the one, like Commissioner Blackwood said.
Yeah, I agree with that. Unless they had some reason not to. I can't imagine they would. I'm just saying that I hate to to say to mandate anything to a commissioner, but I have no reason to believe they wouldn't want to use that email address. And if I'm interested in changing, anybody's interested in changing, because me and change don't get along. So I'm fine with changing as long as it works with my Outlook. So anyway, but like I say, it needs to be phased in over the next several months. So I don't know if we need I don't know if we need a motion or not, but if we technically need a motion to say that we do for the onboarding process, we need to say that we're going to recommend they use the DDSN email.
Mr. Chairman, I so move that we encourage our new commissioners and our old commissioners to go to using the format of a DDSN email address for all communications regarding the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs, and that the IT department at DDSN will work with the commissioners to assure that there is a smooth transition from their personal emails and personal email accounts to the DDSN accounts.
So moved.
Well, wait a minute. Well, why don't you add to that motion that that we're going to let them know that they can have business cards and nameplates, and they'll have nameplates and name tags and business cards, and that they can have a car tag a vehicle tag if they'd like it.
Okay. Shouldn't that be separate though?
Well, it can be.
Okay. Let's close that one then. Let's take a vote on that one, and then let's move on and we'll do some others.
Okay. All right. Motion is made. Is there a second?
Yep. Second, Blackwood.
Motion made and seconded. For any further discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor? Those opposed? Okay. We need one other motion then to add to the onboarding process. Which when I say the onboarding process, I mean the initial email that goes, which will be a long one, I know, that goes to the people whenever they are onboarded. And then so it would say that you are entitled, if you'd like to have it, to business cards.
I would like for us to make a motion that in the future, when we onboard our directors and our commissioners, that we make sure there's a list included with the initial welcome letter showing everything that a commissioner is entitled to as far as benefits, as far as email addresses, as far as car tags, nameplates, etc., and that all that be included in the letter that goes out to those commissioners, whether it be a list attached to it with directions to get that stuff taken care of.
So moved. A second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Is there further discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the and the final item on the agenda is, well, the one item we didn't talk about today is the Facebook changes that we needed to make. I think I missed that on my agenda here. Did we Are we incorporating those Facebook changes along with the website changes? Because we didn't say that in this meeting so far. I understood that we're going to do that too.
Motion that we include all changes that we make to the website, to all of our social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever we happen to have social media wise for DDSN. I'd like to see the same things applied to it that is applied to the website.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Is there further discussion? Does everybody understand where we are with that before I pass that? I mean, does Susan, you understand what we're doing?
Yes, Kimberly had to leave the room for a moment, but she has already incorporated changes to Facebook, which I believe there were some limitations about certain access points in your initial draft that we met on in December, or had that discussion, not a meeting, in December. And Kimberly would probably be the best to talk about the changes she's made to Facebook. And that I will note, I do know that she has listed the commissioners' names on the main Facebook page, but she's back and she can talk to you about what she's done.
I'm sorry about that. I had to step out for a second. Yes, the commissioners' names have been added to the About Me or About Us section on the Facebook page.
Yeah, we were just making a motion to make the Facebook as much like the website as we realistically could, so that they were similar with the information. I mean, I'm assuming I don't know if you could put bios on the Facebook, but I mean, you could certainly put our names and our the titles of the commissioner or vice president, or I mean vice chairman or chairman or whatever. And she was just making I just want to make sure we understood what motion we were making, because Stephanie had made a motion that we make this Facebook as similar to the website as we could, and so I just want to make sure everybody understood that's what we were doing.
Okay, let me double check, because I believe that I
mean, we gave you some guidance on this whenever we talked about this meeting and how the committee wanted Facebook to change. So as long as that stuff's in it, I think that'll cover it. I just wanted to make sure that was included in this discussion today.
Yeah, on the page right now, it has, under the additional information, it has all the commissioners listed by district. You know, your first, Mr. Barry Malfris, vice chairman. It has Commissioner Blackwood listed as secretary and Commissioner Lamel listed as chairman. So it has that on there already.
Okay. Well, just look back at that sheet and make sure that the stuff that Robin had recommended is also on the Facebook page. I don't know what it is right this second. I don't have that sheet in front of me. I just have my agenda. But there is a sheet that was sent to you and to Susan about the Facebook page and what she wanted to see change on that. So we just want to make sure that's on there.
Yes. So I'm looking at the list that was originally, which was really suggestions. It was, how can we add some more information to the page that shares more about the commissioners and who we are? Because when you looked at the Facebook page, it didn't have any of that information on there. So some people only use Facebook to research and look at things. And so we just wanted it to be similar in information and complete, so that in case no one went to our website, they would at least see some of the similar information on the Facebook page. So you did add all the commissioners' names, their district, and if they had a chair, executive position or whatever. So that, that looks good. And I remember showing us that when we had a brief call a few months ago. There was also a few other suggestions, like the commission meetings should be listed in the calendar on the website, and I'm sorry, not the website, the Facebook page.
Well, there isn't
and
a
I think
calendar. There
you
isn't
said
a calendar
that
on.
Could it be done, or
well, what would have to be
done? I can't remember, and it's not pulling up for me right now for some reason when I'm trying to look at it. look at that part of the site, but
Facebook
the
doesn't
Facebook
have,
page. But
Facebook doesn't have a calendar.
go ahead.
Facebook doesn't have a calendar, so we can't do that. The only thing that you could do is make an event page for that. And I don't think that a commission meeting warrants making an event page.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
So, let's see. I'm just looking down the list to see if there was anything else that was relevant to the commission. For the most part, I think there was just some other suggestions made that were just minor in information and content, since I do a lot of work with Facebook, and so I just wanted to be able to share some other ideas and options on that. But I think for this meeting and this purposes, I think the Facebook page has been updated with the information that we asked
Okay.
at this point. So,
Okay. Okay, well then we had a motion and a second. Do we want to drop that, or we want to go ahead and pass that, because it just says make it as much as that way as possible, which we may already have done. So have we already done that? We've already made it as, we've already done all we can do with Facebook is what we're saying. Is that right?
when it comes to the commission, I think, yeah.
Okay, well then,
So do you want me to withdraw my motion?
yeah, I think we probably do.
Not my motion, not my motion, that was my second, that would be, Commissioner Rollins.
Yeah, Miss Robin,
I
Miss
withdraw my motion.
Rollinson did that. You wanna withdraw that, or you wanna amend it?
Yeah, I'll withdraw.
Okay. Because we have to amend it somehow in order to figure out what you wanted to do. Okay, well then, motion has been withdrawn. I don't think we need to vote on a withdrawn motion. I think we just need to say that it's been withdrawn and we don't have one. I need to look at my book to see if that needs to happen. I don't think so. Because we don't normally withdraw a motion. So,
I can second that just in case, so that we won't have no questions.
just for the record, we can second that, the fact that that's right, that we withdrew the motion, sorry. Motion made and seconded, and with no further discussion, it passes. I'll do it that way. The last item on the agenda is the, and there's a purpose behind it, not only the plaque, but a purpose behind that too, is the final plaque that people will receive whenever they leave our commission, which I hope will be a long time before anybody leaves our commission, the ones that are on here now. But I just wanted to get before the committee the wording that's on the plaque, and only for the record to be sure that the two people that particularly were appointed by Mr. McMaster that are no longer with us, that I just wanted clarification that they did receive a plaque. Is that true?
I know that we gave one to Eva. Sorry about that. We lost a mic of a table transfer. I don't think all the commissioners that left, and a couple of them, because of the way they left, did not receive a plaque. And we could mail them one, but they weren't here to receive it.
What about Robin? I'm sorry, right this second. I don't know who preceded you. Who you replaced. Who did you replace?
Chris Neely.
Did Chris Neely receive a plaque? Do we know?
I know he asked for one. I'm pretty sure one was done for him and sent, but he wasn't here. He quit after a first year. Not even a year, I don't think.
I don't think he was there a year either, but
here to receive his plaque. Usually it's done at the person's last meeting. And so he left with a resignation.
What about Lori?
No, I don't think she received one. Again, she didn't attend the last few meetings, but we can, I don't have a problem with getting her one. That's not the issue. It's just we've been a little on the busy side with all of this going on. But it would probably be a nice thing to send to her. She was a a strong advocate and served her term fully.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just think that I just wanted to get out there for those of us on the committee to look at the contents of the plaque and to consider what we may or may not decide it today. I mean, we could decide it another day as to exactly what, I mean, if we had any recommendations for what the plaque would or would not say. We don't have to do it today. Like I say, there's nobody leaving that we know of right now. We could certainly meet again. We could certainly meet one more time. We don't even have to, we're not going to meet about it doesn't look like we're going to meet about the logo anytime soon. So we could meet about the plaque if you want to, and for the plaque's purposes, or we could try to do it now. The only thing I wanted to say was that I would like to see about the plaque was that I would like to see particularly the last couple people and whoever would like to have one that don't have one, to have a plaque if they want it, because I just think that if you're on this commission, you deserve that from the work you do. But the only other thing I would say is that I would like to see we'd have to get on the details another day, but I guess, or we could, or we don't have to, we can do it now. It's just getting longer than I thought this meeting would go. But I just wanted to see the beginning date on there after somebody's name, the date they were actually commissioned, and the date that they actually ended on the plaque, and also the subcommittees they were on should be listed on it, is what I was going to say, along with the fact that they were whatever office they held, of course, and rather these words. I mean, the words are nice on here, but they might need to be closer together, so you could, like, with deepest appreciation for your exemplary commitment, leadership, and dedication, would be the top line, and then your name under that, and then on down, the last part would be the last line, and then the in between would be I would think the fact that whether you were, whatever office you held and what years, and somehow properly, but there again, we may want to do it another day since this meeting's going longer than I thought it would. Somehow to list the subcommittees they were on, so that we can show that too, because the subcommittee work, and particularly with this commission, has been a lot. So it would be nice to have it on there if we could find a professional way to do it without bunching it up. I would think you'd want to. The only other purpose of bringing it up is today is that we would say that that each person that the committee sees fit to receive a plaque would receive one, and that we would spend no more than X amount of money per plaque, so we can get this money straight. And it said the highest one on here is $55, so I think we could say that we would spend no more than $75 on a plaque, and that we could say, and the other thing was that we could say that anything that somebody that was customized in their name, their plaque, their business cards, their nameplate, name tags would be given to the commissioner when they left. That's the only other thing I wanted to say about that. I just wanted it to be official that all those things would be given to us as a small token of our appreciation for their service, because it is a quite a bit of work, as we all know, to do this. So rather than just a plaque, I think they should get anything that has their name on it that we've customized. And that was the only other thing I was going to say. So do we want to mess with what the plaque looks like today, or do we want to do that another day whenever somebody actually needs to get one?
No, I personally think we should we're all here, so let's do it. I mean,
okay.
Because it definitely ties into the overall, everything from the beginning when you start to when you leave. So.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine.
Relevant and good. So.
Well, I mean, I should say, does anybody want to change? What do we want to change, if anything, then about the plaque, about the way the plaque reads? Maybe Maybe nothing, maybe, I don't know.
No, I mean, I think the way that it reads is good. I don't really have any changes to that. I think it's clearly relevant and appreciate. The reason you get a plaque is it shows your appreciation, the appreciation of serving, and that's. I mean, it is a little long, but
do you think the order is correct? Do you think that the person, the first district and all that for the South Carolina Board of Disabilities should be at the end and all the information in the middle, or do you think it should be like it is now with as a commissioner representing the first district and then the years that they did that and all that? I would kind of think that stuff didn't need to be at the end, that where it says the commissioner representing the first district of South Carolina after we list all the things they did. But I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm just asking.
The example that I have shows it with the total commission years comes at the end. I mean, the recap of what, how many years were chairman, how many years were you vice chair, were you just secretary, so the example I'm looking at is what I would say we should do.
Okay. Well then, do you think we should put the subcommittees on there, and where should they go?
Well, I mean, I like kind of at the end, at the bottom of it. I just like a lot.
Rather than listing the years they were on subcommittees, I would think you would just list the subcommittees and I mean, put one right after the other with a dot, right? Like Finance Committee, Policy Committee, whatever, right? Because you wouldn't want to list the years of their. I wouldn't think you'd want to. Well, maybe you would. I don't know. It would just have to be small. But I mean, you certainly want to use the biggest one they have, the 12 by 15, if you're going to do this. But if you want to list the years, we can do that too. I just didn't know if you wanted too many years on there. I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking.
So the options are total commission years. Like who wrote that? Like, what is that? Is that an example, or is that like what you want?
That's what we've used in the past, as far as I know. What we have in front of us is what's been used in the past. Isn't that right, Susan? What we used in the past is what's in front of us?
Yes, I mean, we took out any identifiers clearly, so it's not the commissioner's name on it.
Right,
but
of course it says name here or whatever, but I mean, other than name here, you put down the chairman and how many years you were chairman or vice chairman or secretary, and if you weren't, you would just put down the subcommittees and the years they were there.
Yeah, I think instead of total commission years, it would say like 2000 to 2020, and then it would say chairman, 2020 to 2023, vice chair to, just those position held years.
But the first amount of years needs to be where it says name here, under the name here, it needs to say the total, it needs to say your commission date and your ending date. So it needs to give the whole years there and then specify it out at the bottom if we're going to do it this way. Because right now you don't have, on this one, you were commissioned on, for me it was January, I think 14th, 2020. So it was January 14th or 15th. I'd have to look it up. But anyway, and then it would end whatever day I actually resigned, as opposed to or was replaced, as opposed to I don't think I resigned. Don't anybody get any good, any ideas from that. What I'm saying is when you ended, it wouldn't be at the end of your commission, because see, some people for whatever reason end before their 4-year term is up, and some people are long after their 4-year term. As we all know, a lot of people go month to month for a long time before they're replaced. So all those months would need to be included, not just the years that you technically are appointed for. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it needs to be the exact year, the exact date that you stopped and the exact day that you started. But so that would go, I would think, under the name of the person, and then rest of the stuff down from there, because it kind of splits it off after that.
So I agree. I think that there'd be a way to put, that information right at the beginning, and then if you served on any committees, that would be on at the bottom of the.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
So should we for this meeting just say that this committee wants to look at any plaques going forward that are ordered for commissioners, and then we can fine tune the information to make sure we like it each time it's given, which would not be many times, but the few times that is given, like, we talked about Commissioner Unum. I mean, she didn't get one. So maybe the next step is to use her example as the next plaque that should be given, and fine tune it then when we actually have an example that we want to order, when we want to order.
That'd be a good idea. And I think that even though he was only here for a year, the one that replaced you, I mean, the one,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
Chris Neely. Mm-hmm.
Chris Neely needs one too.
Right.
Certainly anybody that was appointed by the master, I'd like to see have one, at least that much of a recent history is what I mean. And maybe before that, if somebody's listening that would like one that was on the commission, they can email us and let us know. But anyway, Chris Neely and
Lori Unum.
And Lori needs a plaque. So why don't we, based on what we were talking about, Susan or Kimberly, based on what we're talking about, would you just make us up one similar to what we've had in the past, but add the committees to it at the bottom, and add the total years when they were actually put on the commission and when they actually left the commission, the dates at the top under the name, and then let us see that, and then we'll approve that before it's sent out.
Yes, sir.
The committee we can just email the committee and they can just approve it. I don't think the commission would care about that.
We're going to need to check to see if one was sent to Chris Neely, because I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay.
He asked for it.
Okay.
Okay, well, if it was, then it was. But if not, then it wasn't. But anyway, certainly we can use, and this would be a good starting point for Miss Unlum. Then we can use hers as a starting point.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the way we'll handle that. And so then the motion would just be that we get a plaque and that we get all the things that have our name on it, and whenever we leave, given to us. That would be that's the main purpose of the motion, of this final motion for this final section C of discussion of exit procedure. That's the only. Oh, and decide what kind of plaque we want. I assume it would be the wood with the black around the. I mean the black background and with wood and gold color. Would that be right?
I think that's. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just square. I like the ones that has this. I kind of like a little bit like the one that had the shape like the state, but it just didn't look right to me. I mean, it just didn't look professional enough or something. So I guess you just go square, right?
Yeah, I think they're rectangular actually, but yes, that's.
I mean rectangle. I mean, yeah.
The model that's been in place. It's been a 9x12 cherry wood with a black brass plate with gold lettering, and it actually might be a slight size variation because just doing a little research, we found some better pricing from a second source. So it might be, y'all could decide if you want it, instead of 9x12, if you want to stay close to that, would you like it to be 8x10 or 10.5x14? We save almost 50%, sometimes more, depending on what your choice is by the second vendor.
Yeah. Well, it would need to err on the side of larger because of the amount of information we're trying to put on here.
I agree.
So the 10.5x13 would be the next.
Okay, well, let's just go with that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
And let's just say that it would cost no more than, I don't know, $75. I know it costs less than that, but let's just hypothetically say it would cost less than $75.
Especially if, vendors' pricing changes or.
Right. I mean, it can always go down. It just can't,
Yeah, shipping, whatever. Shipping the item is $10 and we didn't, whatever. So,
Or we can say 100. We can say whatever number we want. We just got to put it on our report for them to approve next month.
so $41, I believe, is the price I see. So I would say no more than $75.
Okay. Let's just say, okay, let's do that.
Because it's $41, right?
Right. It shouldn't. There's no way it'd be 75. I wouldn't think. But we just need a round number for our report.
So you want me to make a motion to? I'd like to make a motion that the plaque 10.5 by 11 would be purchased for
It's 10.5 by 13.
Yeah, 13 would be purchased for departing commissioners. And the price for this parting gift is no more than $75.
And that all the things, if you don't mind amending it, all the things that our name is on, that is customized with our name on it, would be presented to us at the end of our or sent to us or presented at the end of our tenure.
And I would amend my motion to say that if any items like nameplates and name tags are in the possession of the commission, not the commission, but the agency, that those items would also be given to the parting commissioner.
Somebody want to second that?
Ms. Rawlinson will second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded. With no further discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We don't have anything else on this agenda, I don't think. And as far as the next meeting goes, I don't know about that either, because of the things that the only thing we would do is say in our report that we would allow this committee to decide exactly to approve the plaque, and so there's really no reason to meet. We would just do it by email. And so I don't know when there'll be another meeting, so we can't say when the next meeting is. Maybe it'll be this year, maybe it won't. I just don't know. But because once these things are approved, it'll list what we're going to order immediately upon approval, and that pretty much solves the purpose of this committee, I think, at this time, unless somebody has something to add.
No, I think this is the purpose of this meeting, was to bring the items that we felt needed to be developed and purchased so we could approve, get approval on ordering some of these items that we felt the commission needed. So
correct. And they will be ordered the day. We will ask them to be ordered the day after the commission meeting is the day after this report is approved, which we will have. We plan to have before the next commission meeting, and the committee will receive everybody will receive the report because we'll be approving it at the next meeting. So all the commission members will receive the report, and I'll get with Susan and Kimberly to make sure our report is straight for the commission meeting of all the things we approved today. That being said, if nothing further comes before the committee, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Second.
Did somebody say whoa? Why did we say whoa?
No, I think it was the delay.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. Did you second to
Yeah. Blackwood second to Commissioner Miller's motion to adjourn. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it very much.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.